Anyone who has ever auditioned and anyone who has served as a casting associate for auditions understands that the process itself is imperfect. On the other hand, no one has ever invented a process that has more possibilities or that guarantees a greater degree of certainty. So the bottom line is you learn how to do it, you learn how to do it well, you learn how to personalize it, because you can't dislike auditioning and get jobs. There are a number of characteristics relative to auditioning in general, and there are also a number of forms depending upon the media and upon the strengths of the individuals, both those auditioning and those doing the auditioning. For example, most of us begin early in our lives dealing with a prepared monologue, but there's also reading from a script. There are improvisations. Many people audition by interview only. For music and dance, there are obviously other forms of this and other ways of adapting it. Nonetheless, there are certain things about auditioning that are the same, no matter what form you use or the preference of the casting associate. You're always auditioning, in fact. When you send in your picture and resume, whether you say anything or they know you or if they've ever seen you before, there's a visual image, there's a bit of information, and the audition has begun. If you have a website or a home page, when somebody goes to it to see it, whether you have a reel attached to it or just your credits and a picture, you are auditioning. They are getting an impression. And perhaps most importantly, you need to remember that when the door opens and you are ushered into the audition room, you are absolutely doing something as important as anything you say thereafter. Your energy, what's positive about your presence, the look that you have, the way in which you greet people, the comfort that you bring to them is a part of your audition before you say a word. And when it's over, before you leave, when the formal part of it is finished, how you pick up your coat or your hat or your books, how you say goodbye, and how you reach out for the doorknob is part of the audition. So no matter what the medium is, no matter what the form, there are certain characteristics that will always be true, and they're about the impression that you make. I think I'm right when I say to you there are three fundamental principles that apply to all forms of auditioning. We know them, and sometimes we know them intuitively, but we tend to forget or go past them as time goes by. One of them is a positive attitude, one of them is selling yourself, and one of them is, what is it you are exactly auditioning? Positive attitude. Again, anybody who's ever auditioned knows that you are going to come up against some people who are rude, uncaring, and who actually make it part of the game to make you uncomfortable. These are not memories you want to keep. But if you hold on to them and bring them into every subsequent audition and anticipate that you're going to be treated badly, you are going to audition on top of these concerns and not down to your talent. So they have little benefit to you. A positive attitude is what we're looking for first. Oftentimes when I work with someone in a show that I had not previously worked with, they'll ask me after we open, what was it that made you cast me? And invariably I always say, because I thought I could spend 4 weeks in a room with you. And that's really true. This is not a means to an end for me. These 4 weeks of rehearsal are the end. They are the show. I could be dead when it's over. I want to know that 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, I'm going into a room with someone who has talent, who has ability, who enjoys the collaboration, and who it's fun to be with. Let us not forget the fun aspect of why we're doing all of this. So a positive attitude is very important. I've been in situations in which people almost immediately will lean over to a casting agent after 2 minutes of seeing somebody in the room and say, I think that one's trouble. Whatever it is that you're radiating, or whatever it is that you're keeping back, is something which can keep you from the job. You don't know what's being auditioned. You don't know if the producer's niece already has the role. But the impression that you make is never wasted. There is no such thing as a good audition wasted. Somewhere down the line, someone remembers, and you have the opportunity again. So it behooves you to be who you are. The second consideration that I mentioned is selling yourself. This is a business. It's show business. Each time you are trying to get a job or a role, you are putting forth something about yourself which is unique in relation to a unique situation, and that's what's being cast. You can't worry about being everything to everybody. You can't make those kinds of choices. If you are a type, there's nothing wrong with that. Just be the best in your type. Always try to sell what you can do comfortably and well and have evidence of already on your resume and in your previous experiences. You don't need to try to be someone other than who you are. A long time ago, I used to be called in by a casting agency, but I never got hired by any of their clients, and I was worried that they would stop calling me in. And one day I found the courage to ask the casting associates, how come you keep calling me in? Because I don't seem to book the jobs. And he said, well, you entertain me. On a boring day when you come, I know there's going to be a unique choice. I don't care whether they hire you or not. I like seeing what it is you're going to bring to the table this time. And eventually, there's going to be somebody other than me that sees that as well. You have to accept what you have to offer and how to sell it, and know that you are enough. That if you don't get the job, if it's a bad audition, that's one thing. But if it's not a bad audition, then there are so many other variables that are not about anything else. You might as well be who you are. Finally, I want to talk about what it is you're auditioning. Yeah, material is important, and it needs to be tailored to you, and it needs to be edited, and it needs to be well chosen, and it needs to have certain values that exist without you. But the bottom line is, I don't give a darn about the material. I am interested in seeing how you get from A to B. I'm not interested in seeing B performed again, which you've done over and over and over again at every audition. I want to know how you work. Can I work with you? Are you capable of adjustments? Can we collaborate? Is my technique the right thing to help you, as well as yours to help me? I'm looking to see you make the journey. I don't want a rhetorical, memorized, sharp, hit the mark, choreographed piece of work. I'm looking to see who you are. And if you're afraid to show me who you are, I'm afraid to cast you. So, these are a few things you might keep in mind. I want to tell you at the end that I loved auditioning. On days when I had no work as an actor, that 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes might have been the only time I had to remind myself of why I was out there, what I wanted, and what I was capable of. I liked auditioning. It was about me. I was never in a fishbowl. I was always assertive. I was always happy to show someone just what they might benefit from.